Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. In today's video we're going to be carrying on with this picture from Rita Berman's new book. So I thought we'd do this one and then I'll probably do a separate video for the little bits in the background. So I'll go ahead and zoom you in and we'll get started. So first I'm going to go in with Cherry Red and I'm going to use this to fill in these little dots on the shirt. So I've sharpened it to a nice sharp point so that I can get right in there and get all the little details. So I'll probably go ahead and speed this bit up for you. Okay, next I'm going to use the same colour, but I'm going to fill in the buttons as well so that that matches the little dots that we've already done. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in the larger section on the collar, just so that's a nice dark red colour as well, and then it'll all tie together. Okay, next going in with Spearmint Green, we're going to go ahead and start to do a base coat on this shirt. So I'm going to go in with light pressure first and add a nice base coat all over so that it's all the same colour. Okay, and sticking with Spearmint Green, I'm going to go ahead and add some shade to this. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit more pressure on the pencil so that we get a little bit of a darker colour. And I'm going to go ahead and darken up where the creases are in the fabric. So I'm just going to accentuate these lines that Rita's put in and then just slightly darken up the bottom edge of the shirt as well, just to give it a little bit more depth. Then I'm going to do the same to this side. So again, I'm going to go over the lines that Rita's already drawn in and just add a few of my own. And then go ahead and do the same for the arms as well, just so that everything's got a little bit more texture to it. Okay, and I'm just going to add a little bit more shade up here where the sleeve joins onto the shirt as well, just darken that up ever so slightly. And then I'm going to go ahead and darken up the bottom section of this side of the shirt as well. And then I'm just going to go back over these lines just to make them stand out a little bit more. And just add some darkness to the cuffs as well. Just give a little bit of shadow on them. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same for this sleeve. Okay, next we're going to start to darken up where the sleeve meets the shirt again. So just take it down the right hand side, and I'm just using more pressure closer to the edge and then lifting the pressure as you come towards the middle of the sleeve, just so it blends nicely. And I'm going to do the same over here. So I'm going to shade the side where it meets the shirt. And again, just lift the pressure to blend that out. Okay, and I think I'm going to add some shade on this side of the shirt as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and darken up here. And I'm going to darken up underneath this collar as well, just to make that stand out a little bit better. So I'm going to do the same for the other side, just darken up and add a bit of shade underneath this collar. And then I'm just going to add a little shadow under each of these little buttons, just to make them stand out a little bit better. Okay, next going in with our white pencil, I'm going to go ahead and blend this all together. So I'm just going to use normal pressure and take it over the darker green and also the lighter green as well, just to blend it all together and get rid of that texture on the paper. I am going to avoid the red though, because if I hit the red, it's going to pull like a brown colour into it. So just be careful not to get the red when you're doing this bit. Okay, and going back in with Spearmint Green, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in these sections of the collar just so that this is darker as well, because I wanted this to be a little bit darker. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add a bit more shadow up this section here. And just go ahead and darken up the creases that we've drawn in, just so that they stand out a bit more. And anywhere that you feel needs a little bit more green, you can just go back in with your green and add a little bit more. You don't need to use hard pressure, but just add a little bit more colour in where you want to. Okay, next we're going to go in with Cherry Red, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in the little cuff buttons, so like the buttons where the cuff links would be, just so that that matches as well. And I'm going to use this to fill in the flowers on the skirt, just so that the top and the skirt matches, so it could be like a matching set. Oh, and my nib's just broken. Oh no, it's got red on the side. I'm going to get my eraser on this and see if I can get rid of it. Okay, I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So I'm going to go back in with Cherry Red and continue to fill in these flowers. So I'm just going to use normal pressure and get these filled in. Okay, next we're going to use sunflower yellow, and I'm going to use this to fill in the middles of the flowers to make them nice and bright. And then we're going to use lime green. So I'm going to use this to do a base coat on these leaves and get these looking a little bit green, but I wanted it to be different to the spearmint green so that it doesn't blend together. Okay, and next, going in with spearmint green again, we're going to go ahead and do the same as what we did for the shirt. So I'm going to do a light base coat all around the skirt. And then going in with a bit more pressure, I'm going to start to add some shadows to this. So I'm going to shade behind these flowers and make them look a bit more 3D. And I'm going to take it down and along the edge of these leaves as well, just to make them stand out a little bit more. And I'm just doing all the shadow to the right hand side of the flowers and the leaves. And then I'm going to add a bit of shade up here where the waistband would cast a little bit of a shadow. And then using normal pressure, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this little band around the bottom of the skirt. And then going back to light pressure, I'm just going to do a nice little base coat inside of the skirt so that it all matches. And then I'm going to go over this with the white pencil to make sure that it's all blended together nicely. And I'm going to use the white pencil to go ahead and go over the skirt as well. Oh, it's broke. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with my pencils today. They just keep breaking. Anyway, I'm going to carry on blending this all together. Next, going in with Pear Green, I'm going to add some shadow to these leaves. So what I've decided is to just do the beginning part of the leaves and leave the tips a little bit lighter, just to add a little bit more texture to them. So I'm going to go ahead and fill them in using normal pressure to about halfway, and then just sort of lift the pressure when you come to halfway so that it blends in a little bit easier. So I'm going to do the same for all of these. Okay, and then going back in with Spearmint Green, I'm just going to fill in this little bit inside of the buckle because this would be a little bit darker. Next, I'm going to take Peaches and Cream and I'm going to make a start on this hat. So the first thing I want to do is lay a base coat down so that we can get an idea of how the colour's going to look. So I'm just going to use light pressure and go ahead and fill in this hat. Next, taking Marmalade Orange, I'm going to go ahead and start adding some shadow to this. So I think I'm going to darken up the left-hand side. So I'm just going to use normal pressure and just add a bit of this colour to the left-hand side of the hat. And then I'm going to use this to darken up the rim of the hat as well, just so that's a little bit darker. Okay, next going back in with peaches and cream, I'm just going to blend this all together, so just using normal pressure. And next going in with cherry red, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the tops and the bottom sections of this little band on the hat so that it matches the shirt and the skirt. So I'm going to use this and the green colour as well to make it all match. So going back in with Spearmint Green, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the middle squares on this little band on the hat. And then next going back in with Sunflower Yellow, I'm going to start to add a bit more shade to this because it wasn't quite dark enough. So I'm just going to go over where I added the Marmalade Orange and just go over that with the Sunflower Orange. Okay, next going in with Peaches and Cream, I'm going to make a star on these little shoes. So I'm going to go ahead and do a base coat on the main section of the shoe. And down here along the bottom of the soles. Then going in with Marmalade Orange, I'm going to add some shade to this. So I'm going to darken up here where it meets the band and also where the tongue is inside of the shoe. I'm going to darken that up as well. And then just add a bit of shade to the bottoms of the soles. Next, going back in with Cherry Red, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this little patch on the heel of the shoe because I want this to be nice and red. So I'm just using normal pressure here and just filling this in. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in the toe section as well with this colour just so that it matches. Next, taking Marmalade Orange, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the inside of the shoes and also fill in where the lace would be showing through. So I'm just going to fill that in and I'm going to go ahead and fill in the inside of the other shoe too. Then I'm going to go back in with Spearmint Green and start to add a bit of green to these. So I'm going to fill in this little band here and also where the laces go into the shoe. I'm going to fill that in green. And I'm just adding a little bit more green to this section here because it looks quite white, and then just filling in where the lace goes over as well. And sticking with Spearmint Green, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the face of the watch. And then I'm going to use Cherry Red to go ahead and fill in this outside rim. Okay, next I'm going to use Peaches and Cream and I'm going to go ahead and do a base coat on the straps. And then using Sunflower Yellow, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow onto the strap as well. Then going back in with Peaches and Cream just to blend that all together. Okay, next we're going to go in with Lime Green and I'm going to do a base coat on this towel here. So I'm just going to do light pressure all over. And then going in with Pear Green, I'm going to add some shadows. So I'm going to start in this section here where it would be darker because it's folded over, and add a little bit more colour in there. And then I'm going to start to darken up the right hand side of the towel just so that this is a little bit darker as well. So I'm just going to use more pressure on this edge and then lift the pressure as you come towards the middle. Then going back in with Lime Green, I'm going to go ahead and blend that together and add a little bit more colour onto the left hand side. And I'm also going to fill in this section of the towel along the top and then use Pear Green to add a little bit of shade to the right hand side and to fill in these little dots on the tassels. And then I'm going to swap back to Lime Green and go ahead and fill in the tassels themselves. Okay, going back in with lime green, we're going to go ahead and start filling in some of these sections on the socks. So I'm just going to use normal pressure and fill in a couple of sections and match them to the other sock. Then going in with cherry red, I'm going to do the same again. So just normal pressure and just fill in some sections on the socks. And I'm going to go around these little lines in here, so I'm just going to darken up the bigger sections on the top here. Next, going back in with Spearmint Green, I'm going to add some green stripes to these socks. And now I'm going to go in with a gold gel pen and I'm going to fill in the buckle on the watch and also the buckle on the skirt as well, so that they're nice and shiny. And next I'm going to take peacock blue and I'm going to go ahead and make a star on the background. So I'm just going to use light pressure with this and just add this colour all over the background. Next, I'm going to go in with the Posca pen and I'm going to start by adding some little highlights to the face of the watch. And then I'm going to go over the laces to make them look a bit more like laces. So I'm just going to do them all white. And I'm going to go ahead and add some highlights to the clothing items as well. And a few little ones on these red flowers. And then for the background, I'm just going to add some dots into the background. So I'm going to do some random sizes, so some small, some large and some little ones, and just go ahead and fill them in all around the background. Okay guys, so that's this little picture finished. I'll go ahead and zoom you out so you can take a look from afar. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and I'll see you in the next video.